Hello. Okay. We're talking today about how to save our relationships. Okay. We all have them. We all go through peaks and valleys, but the idea is to hang in there long enough to retrieve the relationship and save it when things seem to get taken for granted. Okay. In case you don't know, I'm Dr. Ferrara and I am doing this series on relationships. And the reason I'm doing it is I've done so much work in divorce court and also child custody, and the issues between couples are seemingly so minuscule compared to the tragedy or trauma of breaking up a family. Because the truth is, once you've been married a while and you have children and you separate and you divorce, no one gets over it. Everybody loses. There's a piece of everybody that gets lost in the sauce. So it doesn't matter if you're the one who initiated it or you're the one who had to deal with it. Either way, as we know, both couples get hurt, and also, needless to say, children involved in divorce never ever get over it. And so it does kind of scar the heart. So we're going to try to see what we can do to get couples to stay together. One thing that broke my heart so many times when I saw it in practice was that fact that, and think about what you want to say very carefully, because once those words come out, you can't take them back. And you don't want to like set a spark that's going to ignite a whole fire. So for you, if you show that your vulnerable side, the whole reason you're angry is because you're hurt. So if you show the hurt side, you may get better results. Okay. Now, when we approach all these sort of interventions or treatments or approaches to keeping the relationship going, this preassumes that both parties want to keep it going. I mean, if somebody has something going on the side, that's a little different. Now you're talking about a different kind of problem. But we're just assuming about the average couple who drifts apart and mundane things in life got to them. Maybe you're working two job shifts right now. You're trying to hold down the finances. The other party's upset because you're neglecting them. You come home and you're tired. And so you both build these tensions and you don't talk to each other. So it's tension is building in each one of your minds when it doesn't have to be. And it's all for nothing, all for naught. Because here's what I see the couples in my office or in the courtroom interview process where they love each other and yet they break up and then they go out and they meet another jerk. Okay, pardon the phrase, but yes, another jerk. And then you just start with another set of problems and learning that person's problems. Okay, so unless it's really an abusive relationship, I wouldn't advise jumping the gun to get it severed, because once you sever that relationship, it's really hard to come back. Okay. So before you open your mouth, think carefully, choose your words. Like we tell our little children, our little 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, say, choose your words, don't cry. Okay. That's what we need to tell ourselves. Okay. So, okay. Step number one, you're going to set up this mutual meeting where you make it pleasant. Food is also a natural divisor, it's a neutralizer. So, usually when people are eating, they're a little bit more calmer. If you feel that for some reason each of you might become too illuminated or volatile, then by all means meet in a restaurant and maybe go for ice cream, maybe go for coffee, but just sit someplace in the public where you can talk like mature adults. Okay, you loved each other at once, so that love didn't really disappear. It just got buried under all the other struggles of life. Okay, and it happens to all of us, peaks and valleys. Remember? Okay, so the first thing you do is set up this meeting. You're going to discuss. You're going to have boundaries set for what it is you expect from the other person and say it carefully. Think about it. What do you want? You want to spend more time together? Or are you going to say, I want you home from work immediately? Instead of saying, gee, hon, I miss you. I want to spend more time with you. Okay, so that's a difference. By all means, check your words, set up this mutual event and meet and discuss these things. Okay, try real hard. If the two of you really can't talk together anymore, if you're really really worked up into such a heated state of mind and you're both defensive, maybe you need a neutral third party. The trouble is, in most families, it's hard to find a neutral third party. It's either your sister, his brother, or somebody, but they seem to not necessarily hold the same views. So that's up to you if you think you have somebody you could really trust within the family. So what I would do is that's number one. Number two is you want to have regular visits for one another to spend time together. That's important. we push ourselves aside so much. It's so easy to do. I don't care if it's 2, 3 hours. I don't care if you have to barter with another neighbor who has kids and maybe you swap kids each other night if you have children, small children, or get certain time off of work and set aside that that's it. You're going to go out and you're going to have a nice dinner together. It doesn't have to be a fancy dinner. It could be anywhere. It could be a picnic in a park. It's just that you're spending time together. That's the whole main point of it. So set time off to set time alone so you can nurture one another, so you can play. Because playing is a big part of a love relationship. And we forget to play when we're so tied up with work commitments, okay? Daily commitments. So set aside private time for private dates, okay? I'm sure everybody saw the movie Date Night, and that was not something we want to happen to you. We want you to have a really nice date night, quiet, something you both enjoy, someplace you both like being. Could be coffee in a bookstore, could be as simple as that. So the next thing you want to do is have your regular visits, and when you get on date, if you have to, you get online dates. If for instance your husband travels a lot or you travel a lot, and you're in hotel rooms or anything, and you don't have time together, then make it a point that you're going to call each other, say at 9 o'clock at night or whatever it is, and have a decent dialogue and be pleasant. Don't just get in contact with the person who's been traveling and say, your kids did today and they smashed this and your kids were fighting and I hit them. And when you come home, you better really hit them hard. Well, you certainly don't want to hit kids, number one, that's first, but they want you to discipline them. So if you're going to go ahead and discipline your kids, do it in a nice way, please, because that's part of the program of respecting one another and saving relationships, not just your husband and wife relationship, but your parent-child relationship. Okay, so you're going to keep yourself on schedule. You're going to do your individual dates. You're going to meet online, even if the person's traveling, and you're going to keep part of you for yourself. You see, because you cannot expect your partner to deliver you happiness all the time. It's up to you to make yourself happy. Nobody's responsible for the other person to a degree. Okay? So maybe a personal hobby, maybe you can take up sewing, maybe you have other friends who have something, maybe it's artwork, whatever it is. Maybe it's ballroom dancing, maybe it's just dancing, maybe it's listening to music. Maybe it's taking up an instrument, doing photography. There are a million hobbies, and there's certainly meetups in every town across the United States. You just put in your zip code, you go to the website meetups, and you do your code, and it's clubs. It's not meetups like date. It doesn't have to be date. It's that's you save that for your online dating profiles. This is hobbies, people who like to do certain things. Like the Sierra Club has outdoor hiking, things like that. So you might even do that together if you both like it, but somebody has to initiate these interests to keep the marriage lively or the relationship lively. Okay? You don't have much money? It's okay. A lot of these do not cost a lot of money, but it's like you owe it to one another to spend that time together, very, very much so. Okay, next thing you want to do is take responsibility for what part you had in dragging the relationship down. Did you get neglectful? Did you forget to did you take that person for granted? Did you forget to elements that they like or try to please them? Or did you just look out for yourself? Because it's not a one-way road. If you're in a relationship, it's going to be a give and take, give and take. A lot of people do take a lot. They want more. Usually one's a giver, one's a taker. Unfortunately, a big taker usually looks for the victim and takes a lot from them. So as the victim, you really have to work really hard to gather yourself back together again. We all heard stories of people who lose themselves in marriage, whether it was the husband or the wife. But we all need to hold out a little bit for ourselves, so we always have some little private part of ourselves, a little corner of our mind that we can go to. Okay, even if it's just reading a book or listening to classical music, listening to rhythm and blues, which is one of my favorites. Okay, so actually I like classical music as well, but it's important that we hold on to those interests and hobbies for ourselves. Okay, so you want to stay as open-minded as you can. Do not get defensive when you're speaking with your spouse or your partner or your paramour. Make sure that you keep your open mind and don't jump to conclusions. Don't just assume if you saw him talking to a girl that he's trying to pick the girl up. Could have been very, very innocent. It really could have. So don't jump to conclusions. You become so defensive. If you're needy, that's another problem. Then that's something you need to check. And that's another video where we talk about introspective looking at ourselves before what do we bring to that relationship, do we bring a bag of trouble, do we bring a lot of worries, do we bring our own anxieties, or are we bringing a loving nature, and that will build upon between the two of you shared. Okay, so that's important. And of course, the final bottom line is, if you really don't um, have a capacity to speak with each other without a third party, then by all means seek professional counseling. Couples counseling is fine. You don't have to be married to go to counseling. Couples counseling helps. And of course, we know there's no place for violence in any part of the relationship. So I'm assuming none of you are participating in that. So please remember, there's just a few simple steps, okay? You set your boundaries, set your mutual expectations up. You have to listen as well as talk. So you need to hear the other person. So this goes back to the one of my original videos, just learning to listen. Okay, that's important part of communication. Okay, then the next thing, so you're going to do your mutual meetings. You're going to set regular scheduled dates where you really set out time just for yourselves. You're going to do online dating if the person's traveling or you can't get to each other for some reasons. And of course, last year with COVID, none of us could get to each other. So yeah, we definitely had to do that. But keep a part of you for yourself, because you know why? It helps when you have something exciting to talk about when that person comes home at night. Say, hon, look what I did. I did this painting, or I did this new song that I wrote, whatever it is. But make sure that you bring some new element to the relationship. It helps. Don't just be boring and say, I slept all day. I was waiting for you. What took you so long? Oh, I need you. Let's do something. And so you want to bring a little spark to the relationship as well. So try not to let yourself get buried in it, okay? Finally, is the professional help, all right, which we hope you don't need. If you can take charge and follow some of these simple solutions. The main important thing is that you always stay calm. You always speak as if you're talking to a stranger, so that you're talking nicer. You wouldn't be harsh and yelling and screaming at a stranger, hopefully not. So try to remember. And by all means, keep an eye out, because we do have a newsletter. If you want, you can subscribe below. If you sign up at my website, we will definitely get you that newsletter every month. Okay, now spring is coming. So, spring is a time for love. So we're going to try to muster up all the love we can through this nice time. Okay. And hopefully we'll bring it all back together again. You'll be surprised. You get that loving feeling back. You definitely get that loving feeling back if you both are open. All right. God bless you. I wish you well on your pathway to a loving relationship. All right. That's what life is all about. Stay well and stay focused on your relationship. Bye now. Bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe below and make a comment if you like. I'll be happy to respond. My email and everything is in my biography in the description area. Okay? All right. God bless. Bye bye.